What could be wrong with that? Hey, how you kids doing? It's a master cylinder, 1955, 56, 57 Chevrolet, run-of-the-mill, Rock Auto, Dorman, just like Dan from DD Speed Shop had to mess with. And it leaked right here, a bunch, while he was bleeding it. Man, he bought 4 of them. Isn't that right, Dan? I can't remember. It's 3 or 4, and they all did the same thing. Different makes, different places, and they all did the same thing. Now, I'm going to tell you what the deal is with that. Uncle Mike, he always knows. What these do come with, these come with the master cylinder. Usually has a boot on here. I've already taken it off. We're not going to take this apart. We ain't going to have to. Master cylinder comes with one plug because there is 2 ports. One right there, one right there. For depending on your application, you could use either one. For the one you don't use, comes with a metal plug. Great, right? But you got to remember, and you look in the package, comes with 2 plastic plugs that don't have holes in them. Turns out this is the key. So let me get you closer. I'm going to explain it to you. Welcome back, Junks Automotive. All right, Dan, let me attempt to show you what's going on here. You're going to notice I have a plastic plug in here. The bottom hole, I did use the metal plug because these plastic plugs don't really tighten up and seal like they should, like I believe that they're meant for. But I have it in the vise, crushed in, smashed in, so it seals. No tubey. There's a reason for that. If you look inside, you see our hole way down inside there. See if I can get a better shot at it. Now, this hole is right here. Your O-ring that keeps the fluid from coming out of here is right inside here. Here's where the business happens. Pressurized, you know. So, without any fluid in it, I'm going to push this in, and I want you to see what I see. There's a hole there. Let me zoom in. Maybe. Okay. There's our hole. That's where fluid gets in. There's our first step. Now watch what happens if I keep going. There shouldn't be anything there. Right before I get to the bottom, what's that? That's our O-ring that keeps the fluid from going out the back of the master cylinder. Okay? So here's my theory, and we're going to prove it. Our O-ring's back here. Being that this reservoir and the hole that fills it is so far back, this master cylinder is not meant to be totally bottomed out. That's why it comes with 2 plugs, albeit don't work. But this is an old school way of bleeding that somebody taught me a long time ago. You don't need the tubies. No. It's kind of a rare instance that you actually have to do that. If you plug this hole off, these come with rubber plugs. If I put that rubber plug in there, put it in a vise and push it off so that nothing can come out, watch what's going to happen. We'll get you set up. So here's what I'm going to do. So I find my brake fluid. Good old brake fluid. Just going to fill that up. Again, this is an old school way of bleeding master cylinders, and I've never used it and had it not work. Well, we made a mess. Our output, or our input, down here is dry. That's the important part. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pump it just the littlest bit. I'm not going to push it all the way through because you know what's going to happen. It takes nothing to get, there's almost no air in here. You just pump it just a little bit. We don't want to push that O-ring past that hole. And yes, you're right. If you're bleeding brakes the normal way and somebody's pushing their foot on the pedal and you're bleeding brakes and you're pushing this all the way past, yeah, that's going to leak. But when you have that rubber thingamajigger on here, the boot down here, you may not notice it. It just won't leak anymore once the pedal travel is not going all the way bottomed out. You see the fluid levels going down. See the bubbles? That's what we want. We want that air to come out. And I'm not pushing it all the way in, right? Not pushing it all the way in. I'm just pushing in half an inch or something. That's all you got to do. Now, before long, you won't see air coming out of there anymore, and it'll get so hard that I can't push it in anymore. That means it's bled. It's getting there right now. See, the air bubble's getting smaller and smaller. I want to make sure you guys can see. Almost no air. Get a little bit more. Let her go. You can let it sit for a minute. Fluid's going to go down, air is going to come up. It's just natural. That's some of them physics type things. And see, I can barely even, I can't push it past where I've been pushing it. So now, we're about done, kids, right there. You hear it making a little bit of noise. Yep. See if you can hear that. I can't push it in anymore, other than just the tiniest bit. And that air is almost done. Now it's working. There's still a little air in it. And you're going to have a little bit of air in it. And bench bleeding, honestly, isn't the necessary evil that we all think it is. Fluid's going to flow back and forth. There you get a couple little more bubbles. So I'm just barely able to push that screwdriver in now. That master cylinder is bled. So let me put the cap on it, and I'm going to show you inside the piston that leaks so much on you on all four of your master cylinders that this one is dry. Now I did spill some on the outside of it. If you look right there, you see any fluid coming out? No, sir. Now, I would have said something, but I wanted to have the part in my hand so that I could prove it and show you kids what's up with an old master cylinder like this. Well, I bought this master cylinder just to see what was up. I might have to go ahead and use this one because there's nothing wrong with it, right? Hey, hope you kids that watched along with Dan and I will put his channel down in the description, a little link, you can click on it, go check them out if you don't know who DD Speed Shop is. Good channel. And I'm not doing this to give Dan a hard time. I'm doing this to educate. It's because if he's done the same thing, then a lot of other people have. And I didn't know. I suspected, but I didn't know till I had the part in my hand and blood it and see what was up. Get a good look-see. So sometimes, and I understand Dan's busy, man. He's doing a video a day for the rest of his life probably. So I get it. I understand. But when you get a few parts that are bad, you might look at what's going on here. Maybe there's more to than just the obvious. So, little lesson for you. We'll see you Sunday. We're going to fix a paint problem that somebody caused on the MGA. I don't know who that is, but we'll see what we can do. See you guys Sunday. Junk out. Oh, have a good one, Dan.